Green light, let's get it. I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it. I just win. I'm on 10. Hello, I'm Himothy. I got the recipe. I got the flow. I got the remedy. I know they do. I know they envy me. Feet on the floor. What they gonna say now? We came along from last place, bottom to top of the fast pace. Out of this surf, I get touchdown. I take a loss, get it back 8. I'm in the gym putting numbers up. You never there, you got bad traits. Never excuses to cover ups. Low from the losses and bad breaks. Green light, let's get it. I'm the future, I'm in it. Check score, I'm winning. Green light, let's get it.
What it do? What it do? You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene and Big Duck and Carmi Commanders Recap Show. I'm Wole from the Urban Sports Scene, and I'm joined by Big Doug and George Carmi from the Big Duck and Carmi Show. What's going on, folks?
That intro was fire.
Look, dude, absolutely. I haven't heard that in a while. It's great. Fantastic. Great intro.
Look, I had to do it for y'all. You guys are special.
I appreciate it.
Come on now. I told you this is a collab show, man.
Yes,
we know
indeed.
what time it is.
I'm glad you used that little clip of Dane Brugler on. That was fun.
Look, I had to go back. I had to go to my actual 9-to-5 skills. And I was like, you know what? When Big Doug said collab, I was like, yeah, I'm for it. They said, how can I make this special? How can I make this go? Right. And I was like,
I'm feeling special right now.
Doug, you are special. Well, if anybody, you're special to me. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Well, we're here, brother.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, we're here for this. We're here for the Commanders recap of what happened yesterday, which I was so excited for. I won't lie to you, I was not expecting it. Therefore, I'm so excited to do the show. Yesterday, the Washington Commanders defeated the LA Chargers 27-10. Hey, let's dive right into it. So I want to get your personal thoughts, your overall thoughts on the Commanders' performance. George, start with you.
I loved it, man. It was definitely impressive. Going into quarter one, we all saw how the game started off, right? And we're like, here we go again. All of us have been watching for years and years and years, and we thought that potentially our defense was leaky. Justin Herbert looked like Michael Vick running for 40 yards in that first play. It was absolutely insane, right? And I think all of us kind of had a negative perspective. Mm-hmm. But then, Quan Martin jarred the ball loose, knocked it out from Keenan Allen. The whole game changed there. And this is a change agent, right? This game is just like the Bengals game last year, right? We had that one game with that shining moment where he stood out, was a pivotal point of the season. And I think the Commanders are now encouraged. I'm sure you guys had water cooler talk at work or talking to your friends. The whole aura of like, hey, our season's kind of going downhill. We're looking pretty bad. So now it's like, hey, we might be something, right? And the biggest takeaway for me, there's two big takeaways for me. First one is Marcus Mariota is serviceable and he did a pretty good job. He's a good solid quarterback, right? But there's levels to this, right? And Jayden Daniels is a whole another level, and he's a spark plug, he's a change agent, and you can see that yesterday. There was plays left on the field. We scored 27 points against a really good defense, and it looked pretty easy. We have some touchdowns on the field. And then finally, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, Bill. I was a late adopter. A lot of people are like, give him the ball 20 times. Why isn't he a bell cow back? Everyone's all kind of harping like week one. I'm like, dude, he's a rookie. Like, let him kind of adjust. But I thought this last game, he wowed me, man. I'm a believer now. 112 yards, 2 touchdowns on rushing, 150 yards in total. He stood out to me. He looked like he's a game changer. I haven't been excited about a running back like this. It's probably Clinton Portis, to be honest with you. It's been a long time.
I agree.
George, I told you in June it would be by week 3, right? I said they're not going to be able to keep him off. I was off a couple weeks, but the kid looks fantastic.
It's great.
No, Big Doug, what about you, man? Like, you same thing, or what? Like, what was your thoughts?
I remember George and I talking after the playoff game last year, the final game of the season. Dorrance Armstrong looked like the guy that they had paid. Remember, they paid 2 people in that offseason for multiple years. It was Luvu and Dorrance Armstrong, and he got decent money. Now, I think they need to go ahead and extend him immediately. I mean, the guy's on pace for like 17 sacks right now. Will he get there? It doesn't matter, really. I mean, it'd be nice, but that's what they expected all along when they signed him. Deron Payne is... I don't know. I was trying to think of the right word to use for Deron Payne, because this is Deron Payne. And a lot of people in the fan base, and you know this, will say oh, contract year for Ron.
That's when he shines, Doug. That's when he stands out.
But can we say this? Remember way back when him and John Allen got to fighting on the bench, and everybody said, "Oh, it's the heat of the moment and teammates, and you hate losing." I think people just assumed that because they went to Alabama together, they were like some great buddies. I think, and I could be wrong here, I think Allen held him back. I think having Kinlaw next to him is a big, massive deal. And I wonder, he said earlier in the offseason, he said they were asking about what's going to happen next. And he was like, yada, yada, yada. But basically it was like, they already broke me off. Like, I don't necessarily need a humongous payday again. I wonder what it would cost. I would have never said this last year, but I wonder what it would cost to keep him around.
Wow.
Or when they drafted him, this is what they thought they were getting, is this beast that can move the pocket with ease when he's right. That was my big takeaway from the game. That defensive line was nasty.
It was. I guess I gotta say I'm sorry for a lot of things. Just like George, one, I was like you, George, about Croskey-Merritt, Bill. I was the same. I was like, y'all gassed up a 7th round pick so early. Like, I'm like, what we doing here? Like, and then preseason hit. I was like, oh, he cool. He cool. Like, I see potential, but we're doing this against backup. So I'm then my mind is like, all right, I still haven't seen enough, right? Then I've seen the games in the regular season little by little. He's won me over, but that Chargers game, that was it. Like, that sold me all the way 100. Like, you can stamp that right now for me because he did certain things in that game. That, to me, he was the MVP of that game. I know Jayden come back. There's levels to it. Something about Jayden gives you this vibe that you can beat anybody, right? But Croskey-Merritt, to me, was Superman. You know what I mean? I think Jayden, to me, did a great and my man Paul in the chat, I'm going to give him credit for this, terminology. He played a great Clark Kent role, but I thought Bill was Superman. Like, Bill was Superman. He did it out the backfield. He did it as a receiving back. He did so many things great in that game where, like, he was stopped in a whole division. The bouncer back outside. Jayden running right with him, acting like he's gonna throw a block. Like,
that picture was beautiful.
It wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
Like, well, go ahead. Just seeing that was great to me. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, George.
I was gonna say, go look through my tweets, and you're gonna see the evolution of my belief in Croskey-Merritt. There was a tweet where I was like, dude, Croskey-Merritt is unbelievable. And I started laughing because I was crazy because the one play that really stood out to me was that one run where Derwin James came in, grabbed him around the shoulders, and almost had him in the backfield. Croskey-Merritt shook him off and then ran for like 20, 30 yards. I was like, dude, we got something here. And I think that's another big takeaway from the game for me is that it takes a couple of weeks to kind of find your identity with our teams every year. Like that, the locker room chemistry and the dynamics within the locker room, it always changes every single year. Like, our team is different this year than it was last year, right? It's a completely different team. Now we're figuring it out. We're like, week 5, we have a running back in Croskey-Merritt. We have the number 2 rushing offense in the entire league. Why don't we let the rushing offense guide our offense and then build off of Jayden Daniels? And the way it works is Jayden Daniels is a great pocket passer. If you can run the ball, Bill Croskey-Merritt, and dominate with that, Sam Cosby's coming back, right? They're basically going to be adding and kind of taking away their run game and kind of putting, they start stacking the box. I dare you to stack the box with Jayden Daniels. He's going to throw right over the top, right? So, I mean, I think things are starting to kind of fall into place for Washington in week 5. It's a good time to do it.
There was a moment in that game. They were cutting to commercial break. Jayden Daniels is sitting on the bench. I'm assuming it's his mom behind him in the stands. Like, I think that's where his people are, right behind. And he looks at somebody. I just was assuming, and gives this thumbs up with a little smile that he's got. And I think it was about that first hit that he took, where really it was just him falling. Not comfortable with the knee brace. You could see that. I remember there have been many quarterbacks throughout the history of the NFL that will tell you sometimes you just got to get hit. Know that you're going to be all right. And you could tell, like, from that moment to me was when he started, because he was off slow. He was slow the last time he played. That game was not great. A lot of highs, passes. It was the same way to start this one. But I think once he got hit, he was like, all right, I'm good to go. And then they started going. And to your point, George, they're number 1 or 2 in like 5 or 6 of the different rushing categories
Mm-hmm.
in the league right now. That's what this team's built for, right? I mean, right now, if they're going to run out, the Chris Moores of the world each week, I mean, I don't know how long it takes to get either one of the other guys back.
Yeah.
But that's what they need to be doing. And frankly, I saw people thinking, well, why did we pay Terry? If, look at what they're doing without him. Adding Terry obviously will be huge. I'm not going to say that it won't. He had something that we just don't have, says Noah Brown. But I was thinking, watching that game, they're going to have to pay Debo.
Yeah.
I mean, Debo is like the transmission that gets this thing from one gear to another. It's odd. The other thing I'll say about Debo and Jayden Daniels, nice to have a friend. Jayden Daniels is the best friend you could ever have. He had no need to throw that touchdown at the end of the game. He either was sad that he knew he wasn't doing very good in fantasy because everybody was running the ball in for touchdowns. He did not need to throw that. He was like, Debo, my man, I'm going to get you one. And it was a beautiful ball.
It was a dot. I mean, it was a dot. I just thought that, again, when Jayden's on the field, it just everybody plays up to their level. Or even over their level, to be real with you, right? Over their level. Everybody puts in that extra umph. And I'm talking about on offense and defense, not even his side of the football. So it's just that he has that leadership, that leadership gene that not a lot of quarterbacks have in this, or any player for real, not just quarterback, any player has. He's a special beast. But I do want to talk about something that you talk about. You said, Doug, about when this game actually, or I think George, you may have said it, when this game actually changed, like when Quan got that fumble. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. I was in some chat talking reckless.
Yeah,
I was talking.
I was here too. I was like, here we go again.
I was like, this is gonna get ugly because I felt like the Chargers can do whatever they wanted. They're marching up and down the field. They can do whatever they wanted. I was mad at my man Mikey, Michigan, go blue, for going off sides on the field goal and causing them for them to get that touchdown. That was like, oh, this is what bad teams do. All right, here we go. We're already down 10-0, and then at that point in time, I thought it was gonna be 17. I thought it was gonna be 17-0. But when Quan made that play and made that strip and that fumble, we recovered the fumble, which we barely do anyway. We barely recover fumbles. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, all right, we got a chance. So for that, how did you think? And I'm gonna start with you, George. Where would you give Quan's play in terms of the totality of this game? Is that the true reason why we won this game, or just an element of it?
I think it was definitely an element of it, right? It definitely stole the momentum back, right? That was pretty much I believe we scored on that drive right after,
touchdown.
Right? So it was a 14-point swing. Could have been 17-0, instead it was 10-7. So definitely closed the game there. I think it just settled everything down because I think Croskey-Merritt had that first touchdown. It was a pretty long run. It kind of took the tone there. That opened up some things. But it just was as you talked about, Jayden Daniels, he started to get more comfortable, right? It's funny. He changed his cleats. He's like, you know what? These aren't going to work for me. I slept on that first play. Let me kind of get back into it. And what happens is, you talked about the intangibles that Jayden Daniels has. People want to play harder for him for sure. But I definitely think there is a technical component to it, right? He also stresses his defenses, right? He's so mobile. He, in our group chat, we're in a big group chat that we all are in together. There people were talking about, oh, he doesn't look healthy. He's, he doesn't have it, yada, yada. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you got to look at. He looks perfectly fine to me. He looks a little bit rusty. He just has a fine tune. And what really turned me back on to the whole game was the play. Someone talked about Chris Moore dropping the ball.
Oh yeah,
that was the play. I was like, all right, Jayden's back, right? Because he was scrambling, running. He basically was running out of bounds. He threw a freaking laser into Chris Moore's hands. He basically hit him on his chest and dropped the ball. And that was a game-changing play. That play shouldn't have happened. Mariota can't do it. Other people couldn't do it. And that was a game-changing moment. One last one. I believe it was Mekhi Becton. I forget one of their right tackles or one of the tackles on the Chargers. He was out. He got hurt and went out during the game. And what I liked about it was, I don't know if that was the motivating factor or freaking Joe Witt was just pissed off. And he's like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm going to just cause chaos. Yeah. We started a heavily blitz. We went from dropping back into soft zones to I'm going to attack. And I think, remember, they talked about identity that I want to see. We should be running the ball and we should be blitzing the hell out of corners, right? If we can't cover corners for an extended period of time because our corners are suspect or leaving things, shorten the time and blitz the hell out of them. Doug talked about Dorrance Armstrong creating some havoc. We saw Wagner back there. We saw Luvu back there. Dude, I mean, granted, the Chargers offensive line.
Got a couple sacks, right?
What's that? Von Miller got a 1.5. I think
sacks.
1.5 as well. Yeah. So,
No.
dude, it was awesome. That was fun. Like, actually, that's what I like watching football like that. I like watching blitzes and chaos against the offense, and I want to keep that going.
Run the ball, play adequate. Imagine if this team was just like the 14th ranked defense, right? Like that would be so much better. I mean, imagine what this team could be that way.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. It was the Mikey Sanders throw. I thought that interception was going to be a touchback. Weren't his feet in the end zone? Did I miss that?
I think he was bobbling. He was bobbling the ball.
Surprised.
He was bobbling the ball. He didn't have control of it, and then he got control of it. I want to say at the 1 yard line. And he bobbled it a little bit. I'm not sure. I mean, that's how I interpret it.
That's why I haven't watched it again. But a 99-yard drive, that's very impressive, right? That's a statement drive to win the game. 99 yards.
That's the number 4 defense in the league now.
Oh, that's
not like some pushover defense. Their offensive line was jacked, but they had everything else. I mean, they rolled out Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey, and the ageless wonder there,
Keenan Allen.
You know, I mean, Omarion Hampton goes out early, but still, they had most of everything other than that offensive line. Yeah. And to your point, George, I hope that going forward, they don't say, well, every game is different and the plan, yada, yada, yada. Like the offensive line was terrible, so we knew that we could just go, no. Do that every week. And you know what it does? It helps the secondary out so much. You see Lattimore getting burned? Not really. I mean, everybody's going, get knocked a couple times, but it helps them out so much. How about this? This is the first game last year and these couple games so far, no receptions for Ertz, not one. I don't even know if he threw it to him. Interesting. Then blocking, you guys looked at it on the film last week, George, I believe. The kid is coming along. The more he can block like that, the more opportunities he's going to get.
You talking about Bill?
He's talking about Sinnott.
Sinnott. Okay, Sinnott. Okay, because I was
Ertz is playing, but he's not like. I think they rather have the blocking of Bates and Ertz, and I saw them in 12 with him a bunch. That we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Ertz going forward.
I feel like for me, because this game he wasn't, like you're right, he wasn't targeted a lot. I think he had like one pass. I think he had one target. I could be wrong. I know a defender like knocked the ball away from him. But I want to say that for me, to me, Zach Ertz isn't, and I like Zach Ertz a lot. I was boosted when we signed him initially, and I was boosted when we re-signed him. But I'm okay with, because Zach Ertz at this point in time, his career isn't the tight end I think that should be featured all the time anyway. It's not like he's not warning with the Colts. He's not, or Brock Bowers with the Raiders, right? We don't need to target him all the time when we have Debo and we have other weapons around him. So I don't look like he has to get so many touches. But what it shows me for Jayden is that, like, especially when Jayden's there, because Jayden is usually he relies on Zach Ertz a lot. Like, he focuses on Zach Ertz. That's one of his main dudes. And if Jayden's not doing it, that means he's seeing the whole field and he's just not worried about going at Zach Ertz. So I'm thinking for me, it showcases Jayden's vision of seeing the field. Look how many guys he got involved. I mean, even Chris Moore dropping passes. Like, he got him involved. So when I see that stat, I'm more excited, to be honest with you, in Jayden saying, okay, I know you're a guy I can trust, but I can spread this whole thing around and get guys open and get guys going. So that's how I looked at it. I mean, look, Jayden doesn't even throw the ball to Luke, and he threw the ball to Luke. Like, that lets you know already, like, Jayden is seeing the field tremendously.
I think I agree with you to an extent. I think it's all match dependent, and the Chargers maybe took away Zach Ertz. Yeah. I like Zach Ertz. I don't think he's a game breaker, but I think he's a good zone buster. And I think Jayden Daniels likes to use him, and I think he's great in the red zone. I think he'll be continued to use throughout the year. I do agree with Doug. I think John Bates and Ben Cinder are starting to evolve, which is a good thing, right? The whole point is you want to change. You don't want to be the same team year over year. And if you can add different components and different skill position players, you want to do that. While you guys are talking, I was looking at some stats. One thing that's explicitly clear is that Jayden Daniels loves Deebo Samuel. Man. He threw the ball 26 times, 11 times to Deebo. Debo had 8 catches and 96 yards and a touchdown. I love Debo. I think Debo is so much fun to watch. I think he's a great piece for Cliff Kingsbury. We talked about it. All three of us talked about it together, but Doug and I, we talked about it on the show as well. We knew Debo was going to hit the ground running. Like a lot of people were like haters, he's old and washed, he's fat, it's ridiculous. But like, we knew he was a Swiss Army knife for this. Like, Cliff Kingsbury is a creative offensive mind, and Debo Samuel is a flexible weapon. It's a marriage that's very, very strong, and it's going to continue. As long as Debo Samuel is healthy, Cliff will use him in the right way. My biggest thing is I don't want to bring any clouds into this conversation, but I'm worried about what happens when Cliff leaves, because I think Cliff is that good. I'm worried about. I think he's a great offensive. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I think it's a great marriage with Daniels. Hopefully we have another strong run, and basically Daniels and Cliff like staying together and maybe want to stay one more year. But I think the reason why our offense works so well is Jayden is very, very good, but I think we're also protected with a great offensive play caller as well.
They've got real quick while they've got, just to kind of chime in on George's spot here. They've got Pritchard and they've got Blau. Pritchard got interviews for, I think, offensive coordinator jobs last year. And I think they had always had a succession plan and hoped to be able to do it in-house, knowing that if they were any good and if Cliff was any good again, somebody's going to want to hire him. Now maybe, and I think this is just pie in the sky, wishful thinking, maybe he's one of these guys that had a shot, didn't like it, and just likes grinding the tape and calling plays, because as you both know, being a head coach is so much more, particularly on offense. Like, you're out meeting people every day. You're doing interviews. Like, you're not in the building all day long with all the things these guys have to do now. Maybe he just doesn't want it. I doubt it. Yeah. But I do think they are set up in-house. And that's been the nice thing, right? Because Pritchard has been sitting there watching Kingsbury for 2 years. It reminds me kind of what's going on in Detroit. Oh, Ben Johnson's leaving. Well, they had a guy ready to go. And so the offense up there hasn't really changed much. So that's my only hope, I guess, is that a guy like Pritchard will be ready to step into that role next year if Cliffy leaves.
I think that from the reporters that I spoke to, they all are in the thought process. Like, Cliff wants to be a head coach again. That's the thing. He wants to be a head coach again. And it's all about, from what I've heard, it's all about the right situation, though, right? So like last year when he was there wasn't a situation that could have got him out of Washington. Like, I know the Saints were like the team that was out there when we were out of the playoffs. The Saints were out there, and he wasn't taking that job. He just did where they were in the draft. They weren't in a spot to take a quarterback that he liked, right? Because he has to be married to that quarterback, so he has to be a quarterback that he likes. So he wasn't. So last year wasn't the great market. I knew I could have told it. I told everybody, like, other than maybe the Bears job because his relationship with Caleb Williams. Other than that job, he wasn't taking any job, like, in my opinion. And maybe the Jacksonville job, maybe. But I said any other job he's not taking. He's not taking any of those jobs. So fast forward to this situation now, this offseason, it's the same thing. What's going to be available when he's on the market? Because he learned from being with Kyler Murray. He learned from that situation. It's like,
will he be pissed if he ends up in New York with the Giants?
I think he would like that one.
Be tough not to.
Jackson Dart. You think Jackson Dart would be a good quarterback for him?
I'm a Jackson Dart fan.
He fits his skill set, and he's showing. Yeah, I think I think the Giants would be one. But I will say this too, though. But to Doug's point, totally agree. I think Washington is set up in a way for him to leave, though. Like, it's more like Pritchard's good. You got Brian Johnson, who coached in Philadelphia. You got Anthony Lynn. You got guys, a support system. Say if Pritchard was going to become the offensive coordinator, you have a support system within there that can help him cultivate an environment for him to be successful as an offensive coordinator and also learn from Cliff. So I just feel like the situation is already set up. If he did leave, there is a replacement, and there is an environment for him for that replacement to not fail. To be honest, we all know that, to me, Cliff is one of the best offensive play callers in football, offensive minds in football. Folks can hate his sequencing at times, but in terms of coming up with plays that are effective, you can't deny it. Like, you can't deny it. This team scores points. That's what he does.
And the one underrated part about Cliff Kingsbury is he came from that air raid offense, and everyone thinks he's a deep ball thrower. Yeah. In my opinion, he most impressed me with the run game. He just has those guard tackle pulls and all these creative runs. And he like last week against, I guess, no, it wasn't last week. It was against the Raiders 2 weeks ago. He just basically blew the Raiders' minds out of the water. They weren't ready, right? It was up tempo. He had wildcat. He had, misaligned, tackles on the right hand side. He just all sort of, pistol formations. He threw all the kitchen sink at the Raiders, and they couldn't react well enough. So I think he's strong in regard to that. I think there is a system to kind of. It's the best case scenario if Cliff Kingsbury goes, but I'm going to be sad when Cliff Kingsbury goes.
Of course.
I do think he's very special. And I think Pritchard will probably be the one that takes over. But I think Jayden really is close with David Blau. They're actually very, very close together. If you ever notice that, like every week they do that whole they throw the ball in the little hoop in the net for the accuracy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know it, but it's him against David Blau and the quarterbacks. They're playing pig. It's like horse. They're playing pig, and David Blau, the quarterback coach, is doing that with him because they have a close relationship. So it's kind of how that works.
Blau called up the play. Remember the play last year that everybody went crazy for? It was I'm trying to think now who it was against. It was like at any rate, that was Blau, and I know that to your point, George, they are high on him. We've been kind of bouncing around. While I want to go back to something you said earlier, and we kind of just grazed over it. Quan Martin is everything you wanted a free safety. George, you remember we talked to what's his name from the Senior Bowl? He's at Oklahoma now.
Nagy, not Nagy, right?
Yeah. Nagy told us.
Yeah.
Remember that was the draft with Brian Branch, and Brian Branch. They had called Brian Branch, and he thought he was going to be the pick.
Yeah,
and Nagy told us like he didn't really feel there was that big of a gap between the two because of Quan's athleticism and the ceiling that there was. Like I remember him telling us that was one of his favorite picks of our draft that year.
Wow.
One of his favorite picks from the Senior Bowl.
Logan Paul did the same thing.
Yep, and that's right. And so the potential is there. I think not enough is being said about that Will Harris injury. Like him and Quan were actually playing pretty good back there. There was a reason why they brought in Will Harris, and they just liked his coverage so that they could really kind of mix and match him any way they wanted to. And when you replace that with anybody else, even Jeremy Reeves, who's around a bunch, that communication gets lost. And that's what they're struggling at. And so Quan Martin's got all the ability of the world. I hope this is the year that he puts it all together because I think this is the contract year for him. But he's got it and can do it. And I think there aren't. Remember, he was on that nasty defense that put like force.
That defense is crazy.
Number one in the country. They're fantastic.
Yeah. Witherspoon, him, they had dogs on that. On that defense.
And so I've always been a fan. I'm excited to see what he can continue to be. The other thing I noticed, I'm sure obviously, I know you guys did too. McGee getting a little bit of action. We've been waiting for this guy 2 years now, and it was like I understand there was injury problems, but come on, what are we doing here? I mean, that play at the goal line was a thing of beauty.
Yeah,
hang it up.
I'm with you, Doug. You guys got a question. Dan has a question for you all. He said, "Are we starting to see less usage of Zach Ertz with their play calling? He was a non-factor yesterday." I guess we answered that question already.
Yeah.
Back to it.
It feels like I'll just say this. And George said it. He's his own buster, and that's they're going to get him balls. But we are in a better position if he's seeing less work, and Ben Siddett is seeing more work, and that way we can stop hearing about what a bust Sinnott is and how bad the draft was last year. Also, by the way, Johnny Newton had a pretty good game.
Okay, I will say this. Since you went there, right? Not like the bust point. But I want to say, I want to know if you agree with me. I felt like yesterday was a good day for last year's draft picks. Like a really good day for it.
Sure.
Right? Okay, I just want to make sure. Like I thought it was an extraordinarily great day for those draft picks.
The back end needed that game yesterday too, because I got to tell you, I think they were 2 weeks away from moving Mikey back outside and bringing Igbo back to the nickel and saying, you know what, this worked last year. Maybe switching Mikey's position 3 times in the last 5 years wasn't the best idea, and he played good there. I really thought that's where we headed. So I was glad to see that unit against good competition. Again, I know the offensive line is trash, but that receiving core is nice. Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback in the league, easy. So listen, I thought that was encouraging.
Yesterday, in the past couple of weeks, I guess yesterday more so, was a good testament for Adam Peters in general, right? He was starting to get a little bit of a bad.
He was.
He's starting to get a little bit of stink coming around the conversation. A little bit. And people were like, I don't know about all the draft picks and Marshawn Lattimore and so on and so forth. But Al Galdi had a great post this morning that I really appreciated, and I agree with him. I was thinking the same thing. He was like, you know what? Besides Marshawn Lattimore, the acquisitions that we've added were fantastic, right? Laremy Tunsil has been as advertised.
Yes,
he's a brick wall. I think had zero pressures in regard. Like he just is awesome. It's so awesome having a solid left tackle like that. And it's funny, like for those of you that want to nitpick and want to look at Laremy Tunsil's track record in the Texans, he had some false start penalties there, some different penalties there, and he's still getting them here. If you pay attention, like once a game, he'll be offsides or a poor formation or whatever. But I'll take that one penalty a game for a dominant performance the rest of the game, right? So Laremy Tunsil's doing a great job there. And then Deebo Samuel, we already talked about it. He's a dog. I really enjoyed that. So those two acquisitions have been great. And then finally, as you talked about it, we're starting to see the different players develop, right? Like we live in a microwave society. I love it. Like, obviously, we're really passionate. It's really, we care about the team a lot. It was like, Luke McCaffrey's trash, cut him for, like Michael Gallup or something like irrational decisions. Like, dude, like, relax. Like, let's kind of let this guy develop a little bit. And now we're seeing Michael Gallup. Now we're seeing Luke McCaffrey start to develop. He's a very strong kick returner. People are sleeping on that. He's a very strong kick returner. And now
he's second in yards this year behind
Deebo, I believe. And then on top of that, he's starting to show some life as a receiver. Guys, this is like year 2 in like 4 games. Like that's what you want, right? You want him to start to peak now in his third year. He's starting to show flashes, so that's good there. So, and then Johnny Newton showed a little bit of flashes there. McGee showed some flashes there. Brendan Coleman's been inactive, but I'm not going to count him out yet. I know people are kind of like, oh, like what's going on with him? He was a left tackle. He was strong last year. He's transitioning to guard. He's a great raw prospect. If you see him in person, he's huge. I think they're developing him. I think they're sending a message to like toughen up a little bit. So we're kind of we'll see some development there.
When I talked to Grant Paulson on Friday, I asked him specifically about Brandon Coleman. Because there was a time when before the game that he got benched, they asked Dan Quinn, is he injured? Because he had that little shoulder thing. And Dan said, no, this is a coach's decision. Then after that game, like on a Tuesday when it was Cliff's time to talk, he says, well, Brandon BC was beat up a little bit, so we were just being cautious. Grant Paulson told me that they called Brandon Coleman before the Laremy Tunsil trade or right around it and said, hey, we've got an opportunity. We're going to move you to right tackle. Then they got to call him again. And he's been practicing now all offseason, getting ready to play right tackle, which is a huge difference from playing left tackle.
Yes.
Just for anybody that's watching. And said, listen, we didn't think that Connolly was going to be there. And so, we're going to need you to go to guard. And so now he's starting to train for another position, the third one this offseason. And maybe it busted him mentally a little bit. I don't want to get into all that, but there is a reason. And he played admirably at left tackle. Like if they had brought back Brandon Coleman at left tackle this year after last year, you'd have got no complaints from me. I thought he did a pretty good job. He ain't a Laremy Tunsil now. So I get that whole deal. And George, you and I think agree on the Connolly pick, and where his ceiling goes. So that's interesting. But they've also been, training up Paul too. That is a massive, massive man. And to me, I know people told us, George, after the draft that they thought that Brandon Coleman was always supposed to be a guard in the league. But when you see Chris Paul in there, moving people, you can see the difference. To me, Brandon Coleman's best spot is probably at like the third swing tackle type thing. Like I don't like his base is not that great for what you need to be able to do in that pulling game that they like to do right now. If anything, I'd be using him as a swing tackle. I still think he can do it, but it was a very interesting and probably difficult offseason for him. So just a little nugget about him that it's just for people, who say he's washed, because I don't think he's washed.
I don't think he's washed at all. I just think that this regime has always based themselves on competition and earning your spot, right? And I'm gonna be real with you. When he got benched, I watched the Packers game. I didn't think he was that. I'll put it this way: he wasn't the worst player on that O line in that game. which you know
that's not what Mark Brunell.
I felt like he did.
I think statistically he was.
Oh, I didn't feel like he was. I feel like
Yeah.
I didn't feel like he was. Personally, just watching, I didn't feel like he was to me. Now, but I don't. But again, looking at him and looking the way he played, I thought the Giants game he was good. Like he was solid in the Giants game. So I don't. But I will say this though: if you look at the body of work from camp and from what I've heard reporters from camp and from the preseason games which we all watched, they said Chris Paul was looking really good. I heard that early. Like I heard that early in training camp, like early. And then I saw it in preseason. And I just think that sometimes when someone is showing you a body of work and they're showing you something, they're showing you it in practice and you see it consistently, it's to a point where, all right, you're good. Like you're okay. Like, Coleman, you're okay. We got faith in you. But this dude over here, like he's really fitting up. He's really fitting. He's really looking like he's fitting the part. Like he's really looking like he's him.
And I like that too. I think that's good coaching because I think what Dan Quinn does, it's a meritocracy, right? He basically rewards people for doing the right thing, and he starts people for doing the right. It's always a competition, even if you're a high draft pick, right? That's why I actually like the rotating captains. Like I know that was kind of odd the first year that we saw that, but if you are performing and you're performing well, they highlight you the next game and they make you a captain for the week. And that's like that positive reinforcement, that like goal setting amongst the team. That builds good culture and builds good camaraderie. And I think it's intentional. I think that's why the Commanders do a good job with that. And I think Brendan Coleman wasn't necessarily, let's say, hypothetically, not in the back room, let's say he wasn't practicing well and Chris Paul shines, is doing a good job. That basically, that's a good sign for the team. Like, hey, if you're that second string, if I keep busting my butt and doing the right thing, I can potentially earn my spot. That builds competition and builds a healthy relationship. It's good.
Dan Quinn said in one of the interviews, I forget which one now, but basically it was like, we have on the wall competition everywhere, anytime. And if I don't live by that, then it's just a sign on the wall. And I was like, oh, damn, I like that right there. And that's what we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah, and that's how I looked at it. I'm like you. That's why I'm not down on Brandon Coleman personally. I'm not down on him.
No, it's still year 2, right?
Yeah, I like him a lot. But I just think that, like, again, you do reward. I like Chris Paul at guard a few years ago. Like I liked him the last game he played against the Cowboys. That's the game with Sam Howell. He got to play in that game a lot. I like what I saw in that game. So I don't think that, like, and he's obviously worked from that point on. He's worked his tail off to get to this position. So I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's getting rewarded for it. But he's blocked well. Like he's blocked really well. So my man Paul has a question for you all before we go to the next topic. He says, question for you all: where is Terry in the pecking order now that we have 2 additional playmakers? He's talking about Bill and Debo. Yeah. Go ahead. Y'all take it. Y'all handle that. 2. He's 2. Okay.
Yeah.
He's definitely not 1. He's definitely not 1 in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe 3. That's kind of where I'm at.
Wow. Come on, George.
It depends on where we go from here. This is a turning point in the season, right?
Yeah,
are we going to be a running offense, right? Like Bill might be our number 1, depending on how we go, right? Like I don't think Cliff's going to commit that heavy to the run game. Like it'll be fantastic if he did, but I can see a world where Bill Croskey-Merritt is the primary back, touching the ball 15 times a game, and he's kind of our feature option on offense. He could be our number 1 potentially. I think the person that Jayden appreciates the most is Debo Samuel. We talked about 11 targets, and I think it actually fits. I think they can read each other well. And I got to give Debo some credit, man. Like when I was watching the game, he got some iron grips. Like the ball, it hits his hands, and it's just like a suction cup. Like there were some heavy contested catches yesterday. He did a really good job with that. So I think Debo's up there. I think Croskey-Merritt. I mean, a safe lens would be number 2, but it could be number 3 depending on Croskey-Merritt. But I don't think he's a number 1 wide receiver right now. I think it's Debo and
how many times have we seen McLaurin in a game and get 2 targets in the first half? I mean, it happens all the time. And one of the things I don't think gets talked about enough is, one of the reasons Debo wanted out of San Francisco, and George, we've talked about it on the podcast. He feels like he's a wide receiver that does other things, and San Francisco thought he was gadget guy number 1 that they throw passes to. I mean, that dude's out there running real routes in this system and doing whatever screens. There's like 500 million screens now. I don't know what the difference between all the screens, a smoke screen, a blast screen, a bubble screen, whatever they are. But he's getting those, obviously, and that's why his targets are up, because that's the easy way to get there. But he's running real wide receiver routes, and I don't think people thought he could.
Let's get a little spicy real quick, right?
Yeah, right, go get spicy with it. Go ahead. Come on.
I'm
Nigerian. I like spicy.
Do you think Adam Peters regrets paying Terry McLaurin?
Nah, I think he's cool with it. I think because you need it for like team camaraderie. Like I think there's a thing of
just like I talk about $30 million a year for team camaraderie.
Look. I like everybody knows I'm a Terry supporter, so let me put my bias there already. But what I will say though is that when you do hold out and you got a new toy like Debo, I've always loved Debo in San Fran. So he's been in camp throughout. He's been there throughout this whole process, right? So the chemistry with him and Terry are him and Jayden's gonna be different. You know what I mean? So it's gonna definitely work to Debo's advantage now, and especially for Cliff. Now he gets to implement new calls and new plays and whatnot. He's been working on this throughout camp and whatnot. And Terry hasn't been involved. He hasn't been there. So it's for Debo to be the primary option. That's how I looked at it. I mean, it's not a knock on Terry, dude. You held out. That's what it is. What it is. This is the nature of the game. You know what I mean? They got a toy in Debo, and Terry is not. And as much as I love Terry, and folks, I do love Terry, but Terry is not Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase. Them dudes are dudes that you can kind of plug in anywhere in a situation. They'll be fine. They'll get their targets. Those are different types of beasts. I get that.
Yeah,
but when you're Terry McLaurin and you got Debo coming in there and you held out, this is what's going to happen. Eventually, you're going to get your time to shine. Like I know he is. Like it's going to happen. But at this point in time in the season, it's not, because you haven't been involved in camp throughout the process.
I mean, obviously he offers something different. I'm think of the lineup when they replaced Chris Moore with Terry McLaurin. I think we understand what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, George, to your point, a lot of people said that 30 was a little crazy. 27, 26, something like that would have been better. I'm a Terry fan. I like that Terry's coming. I like that Terry's here. I'm just saying, if we take off our Commanders gear right now and just be subjective. Yeah, so you're Lakers. So there you go.
Yeah.
You know what it is. I just don't think that they would have. I mean, they could have just waited and gotten George Pickens, George.
Oh, yeah. Crash out.
I don't know about all that.
You want crash out?
He's a Georgia guy. That's why I was going that direction with it.
Oh, that's why.
Hey, I've seen that man catch a lot of touchdowns.
I think Adam Peters, gun to his head, take off the hat, like take off the, whatever, the cape, whatever the verbiage is. I think if you asked him, he would have been perfectly content riding out the year, potentially franchising tag him at the end of the year, letting it play out. I think that's what he could have. That was what he would have done.
What does that say to you, George, if he bent to the pressure?
I mean, I think it stinks to hear, but at the same time, it is political. There is a political component to the NFL, and you have a consumer base, right? The fan base, there was a lot of pressure, and the fan base would have revolted if they didn't sign Terry McLaurin.
That's right.
I feel like he kind of had to do it. So I think he was in a rock and a hard place, so he kind of catered to that. I got to double check. I believe the McLaurin's contract it's a raise, but I don't think it's like really structured like in a really painful way. I think it's like he can potentially slide out of it potentially. So I think there is some wiggle room there. I think it's incentive based. Like if Terry hits certain thresholds, he'll do very well, which is good. It benefits all parties. I'm not mad at it, but like I think Terry is a good vertical receiver, is a good team player, he's a good locker room guy, he's a good route runner. But like, it's the hard part is this, right? Like the NFL, there's a lot of really good wide receivers, and my favorite wide receivers are those ones that just eat targets up, man. Like I know people don't like him in our fan base, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, I love watching him play. I like watching CeeDee Lamb play. Like those guys, like 3rd and 6, throw it to them. 3rd and 9, throw it to them. Like they're always going to be open. They're going to get 15 targets a game. They're going to move the ball. And that's what a true number one wide receiver really is. Like
and your man in the chat just said Terry smokes number 2 receivers. We're talking about a number 1 wide receiver. Like,
well, let me say this:
number 1 corners, not number 2.
Man. Paul, look, he always had hate for Terry. I had to win him over too. It's okay. But I will say this though, like for the CeeDee Lamb thing, the only thing I will say for Terry, to your point, I know what you're saying about getting targets. with the Cowboys, because I watch, man, obviously you watch your enemies all the time. The Cowboys are like, the enemy. Yep. So what they do differently from any time that Terry has been out here in Washington, they move CeeDee Lamb around. Like they make sure he gets the mismatches and they make sure they're targeting him. Regardless of the fact, Washington put Terry on the outside. That's it. Go against the number one wide corner. That's what for a while. That's what they've been doing here in DC. So like Terry, and I don't want to talk about the quarterback play because we all know about the quarterback play before Jayden. So that is what it is. But I do feel like it's harder to assess Terry in that element about getting targets when typically some of those other receivers that we mentioned are not going against the number one corner consistently. They're moving those corners around. I mean, moving their receivers around all the time. That's why we would see, even watching CeeDee Lamb against us, he'll go up against a linebacker. He'd go up against a safety. He'd go up against a Benjamin St. Juste. Like he would go up against these type of dudes because they would rotate him around. While Washington, for Terry McLaurin, he's stationary. He's at one side. And that to me is harder. Like when we were looking at those type of dudes that you're referring to, it's hard to assess Terry in that element. The reason why I love Justin Jefferson so much, it don't matter. Like Jamar Chase, it don't matter.
Terry basically got the contract by all accounts. Yeah, that they offered him in like May.
Yes.
And so I'm still trying to figure out what was the point of all this if you ended up taking the contract that they offered you from the get-go, and we wouldn't have to done any of this. Now, before I get mass unfollowed on X, let me just say that I am very excited to get Terry McLaurin back on the football team.
Do a little soundbite of Doug hating on Terry, please.
Doug hates Terry. No, listen, he obviously will be good. What is more encouraging than anything is how they were able to move the ball on Sunday without Terry McLaurin, without Noah Brown. And I just want to say this because I think a lot of people I don't think get this. Luke McCaffrey, not only has he just recently started playing wide receiver, but because he's like generally third or 14, third or fourth on the depth chart, who's throwing him the ball in practice? Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, Mariota. Yeah.
And that's why you could see their connection started off quickly.
Yeah.
Jayden hasn't really, I mean, yes, he was on the team last year, right? But he was not being very active until the end of the year. Now I think you'll start seeing Jayden throwing him the ball a little bit more as their connection grows.
I mean, I hope. I'll say this much, everyone thinks I guess I do. I do come across as a Luke McCaffrey hater. So I'm trying to say this correctly without seeming like a hater. He's done well. So I will give him his flowers. He has done very, very well. And I'm happy for the kid because I'm not one that wish on anybody's downfall. I'm happy for the kid. I feel like he's heard the noise, right? So I'm glad that he's playing well and he's playing at a high level. Playing at a high level. But I do want to see see Jalen Lane give way more opportunities in that slide. I just feel like
but he's had some brutal drops the last.
I know, but I will say this though: after the kickoff return, I see a different level of confidence though when he has the ball in his hands. Yep. And now he's snatching it. It's not like he's thinking; he's out there trying to make plays. So I do, because of that punt return for a touchdown. I do want to see him get more opportunities. I think since that moment, there's something that's clicking, that's ready for him. I can see it. You know what I mean? So I don't want Chris Moore on a go route. I want to see Jalen Lane on the go route. I don't want Chris Moore one-on-one. I don't want that type of play. I want that to be Jalen Lane. If we're gonna go outside, I want it to be
Tay Martin. I don't know why either.
Or Tay Martin, yeah, or Tay Martin, definitely. So Paul has a follow-up question. He says, when Terry returns, which young wide receiver won't get the reps?
I bet you. I would guess they split it in half with Luke and Lane.
Okay,
that'd be my guess. At least that's what you want, I think.
I agree. I think we talked about the Chris Moores of the world and the Tim Martins of the world. They're no longer going to be on the field anymore once they're
practice squad players, by the way.
Yeah, they weren't practice squad players for a reason. I think the difference between Jalen Lane and McCaffrey are they're completely different types of players, and I think there's different sets and different packages for your different plays, and they're going to split it up that way. Jalen Lane's more of the crossers, the vert routes. He's more of the explosive wide receiver. McCaffrey's more of like this is kind of ironic because he did bomb yesterday, but he's more of like the underneath kind of receiver, more of a slot wide receiver. So they're going to use him in regard to that. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Like I think just going one last thing, kind of closing up on the Terry McLaurin conversation. Terry McLaurin, the reason why they don't move him around the field like they do with CeeDee Lamb and with Amon-Ra St. Brown and all those guys is we do up tempo. That's kind of what Cliff Kingsbury likes to do. So they push the pace and they're like, hey, instead of you guys running across the field and moving, slowing the thing down, just stay there. We're going to flip the X and the Z, and we're going to, we're going to flip the play to stay there and make it work that way. So that's why they do that there.
That's a good one.
What do you think the wide receiver? How's this for the wide receiver room next year? Terry McLaurin, Debo,
Jeremiah Smith.
Jalen, George, sign me up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a decent young wide receiver room, right?
Yeah.
We need another wide receiver. In my opinion, that's for me. We're talking in October.
George says draft a wide receiver in
round
the
one,
round,
really early.
Round one.
Yeah. I think for one.
He says in general that's the way to go, right?
I think in general you should draft wide receivers and running backs every single year. Just keep adding to the room in general. And then I think that it's like Terry McLaurin's. I think there's going to be regression. I don't want to be a hater. Don't cut this clip and put me on X and kill me.
I'm not going to do that to you.
But I think he's going to be a solid player for the next couple of years. He's going to be an awesome wide receiver too, as we kind of evolve over the next couple of years. Deebo Samuel's going to be that underneath kind of gadget player, but I think we need an explosive wide receiver to kind of like a heavy target guy to kind of you're going to be paying Deebo $19 million. You're going to be paying Terry McLaurin $30 million. You're going to be paying, it's good to kind of balance out the rookie.
19.
Absolutely. And Paul, I can see you edge rusher for sure, but we have Dorrance Armstrong. No, I'm just messing around. We should get another edge rusher, but Dorrance Armstrong's doing.
He's been balling. He's been balling though.
But hey, also by the way, George.
Yeah.
How much work did we do before the draft on edge rushers? Like a sickening amount, Wally. A sickening amount of edge rushers. Yeah. We looked at all of them. How are those edge rushers doing this year? By the way, as a Raku. Nothing burger in Dallas.
I love Mike Green.
I like Mike Green.
The whole defense is out in
James
the Ravens.
They don't even start Mike Green though. They don't start Mike Green. That's the issue. They don't even start him now.
Well, because he's too small to play the position well.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're not running the old Ravens 34 anymore. Because
that defense is trash.
That's what he should be doing is playing like edge on a 34.
Mm-hmm.
So I just be careful what you wish for because those pass rushers are hard to get to transfer to the league, right? Like the kid they took up in Baltimore or for the Bengals, has he played yet this year?
I don't even know.
No. I don't think he has, or if it is, it's in a backup role. Like the only people that got pass rushers, and this makes me sick, is the Falcons, and they took two great ones out of the SEC. Mm-hmm. And those dudes are making noise.
Is he balling? Is he balling? The one from Tennessee, they got to keep him Tennessee, right?
Yeah,
James Pierce. He's okay. I don't think he's balling, but I think he's a good player.
Okay.
I think he's the best DN that came out of this draft. So
I liked him a lot.
And Jalen Walker's right behind him. Jalen Walker,
I liked him a lot.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
I know Jalen Walker. I know why you mentioned him. It's okay. I know exactly why you mentioned him. I was like, yeah, this is another Georgia. I got you.
There's two great things about football, Wale: the Georgia Bulldogs and the Washington Commanders. That's all there is to it.
I mean, they're doing. I mean, they're okay. I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna start with you, Doug. I'm not going because Georgia. I have bad memories of Georgia.
I know you do. I know you
do. I do. I mean, it's okay. We won. I know. You know what? I'm not going to go there.
You want to
win the last one? We won the last one. We won the last championship. But I mean, before y'all, y'all didn't win last year, so we won the one before that. So we're the most recent champions before between the two teams, right? We're the most recent champions, right?
Yeah.
See, there you go. I feel good now. I feel better. I feel better about my life now. See how that works out. All right, let's talk about this. I'm going to talk about this Commanders defense. Was this the best defensive effort that we've seen this season? Compare, I guess, the Giants game and this game. Which game was better in terms of the defense?
I think this is more impactful, right? I think if you consider where we were and the opponents that we had, I like our defense stood out more, right? We played Justin Herbert, who he had a bad game against the Giants. I will say that, but he's been a stud all year long. I think he was on like a 5-0 touchdown to interception ratio, a couple hundred yards. Quentin Johnson was the number 4 wide receiver in the league coming into the draft. And that's on top of that. Sorry, not in the draft, coming into this week. Mm-hmm. Ladd McConkey was quiet, but he was a stud coming out of college too. We're always the get right team, by the way. I talked about one of my tweets was, dude, freaking I was so angry. I was like, dude, always Michael Penix, Kyle Pitts, McConkey. Now we're letting people off the hook. But basically, we shut them down. Like, I thought like the Giants game, we were like suppressing them. They couldn't move, but we were dominating the Chargers. I think like, after the first quarter, we're blitzing them. Herbert was flustered. They were making mistakes. Like on fourth down, they were rushed. They threw like a bad pass, and they like had a turnover on downs. Like it was we had them on the ropes. It looked pretty good. To me, that was the best performance of the year.
We said that against the Giants, right? And then the next week, it was not like that.
Oh,
This one to me is similar. I'm sorry, I'm not. This performance doesn't get me super excited. It got me excited on Sunday.
Yeah.
But does it get me excited against the Bears and like the 8th ranked offensive line in the league? Bradley Bozeman for the Chargers is 42 out of 42 centers ranked. Joe Alt, no. What's the other guy's name on the other side from Notre Dame?
There's local.
Either way,
there's local kid they have too.
Right. Either way, out. Mekhi Becton didn't finish that game, even if you think Mekhi Becton's a good football player. And I dare you to. And Jamie Sawyer's from Georgia, which hate to say it, but he ain't. So does that impress me? That game? I don't know. Right? I don't know. And they do this every week against good offensive lines. I want to see that.
Like I don't. It's
they
hard.
Have a tight end. You know what still crushes this team? Just rail routes and goes for the tight end. That's all you got to do. Just go. Throw it up the seam, and we're done. They don't have that kind of tight end on that roster. That's not where they're at right now. So again, I hate to be down. Feels like we've been down a little bit after what was an incredible win. But I got to see it against. I'll be interested to see it Monday night.
That's a really good point because I was questioning. That's where I was leaning at because the Giants game. To me, I felt like the Giants game. They really couldn't do anything, right? Like they couldn't move the ball. They really couldn't do anything of substance. Really, unless a couple of big plays. But really, truth be told, I felt like the defense had that game under control. Period. To be honest with you. This Chargers game was interesting because the Chargers, they would move the ball up the field, and also they would damage their own selves, to be honest with you. Like penalties, I think they had like 10 penalties for like 85 yards. So they would put themselves in down and distance a lot. Then also, the turnovers. Some were caused by us, right? Obviously, but they would be able to move the ball up and down the field. It wasn't like we just stopped. They couldn't move the ball. You know what I mean? Then we would stop them. They couldn't move it though. The Giants really weren't really moving the ball. I don't know how they weren't really moving it. So but we created turnover, so that makes it look good. If you look at this, look for what it is. The first quarter, they scored 10, and that was it.
Well, and Sanders still doesn't make that penalty. They had 3, right?
Talk
about penalties that really blow the momentum.
Yeah, exactly. Or even or if you look at even the situation where the running into the they say they helped us out running into the punter, and we get an extra extra down to score on them. So everything changes. Everything changes. So my thing is it's hard because I'm with Doug, and also with Doug at this point where they were killed on the offensive line. Like they didn't have their offensive line and what they started in the season. And does that help our defense look good in terms of getting pressure, whatever? Will we be able to do that if they were a healthy defensive line? So it's hard to if they were a healthy offensive line. So it's hard to kind of break down the true play of this defense. They were good. I don't want to take that away from it. I think it's unfair for me to come out and just say they weren't good. They were good. They were good. Anytime you shut a team out 3 quarters after the first, you were good. You were playing defense. I don't know how I can grade it against that Giants game. I thought the Giants game, after that Giants game, I came off real hype. I came off real hype because I felt Kinlaw.
This is a totally different defensive line too now, Wole. A lot of injuries to that defensive line.
That was a talk though. That was the conversation all during the preseason, and that was conversation during training camp. They're like, we have an oversized defensive line. We're going to stop the run. Yeah. They're hyping that up. And dude, I swear, the cornerback room, we've had many conversations. Doug, we talked about it during all offseason. We're like, what's the deepest position on the defense? And a lot of us, at least I remember the conversation being, it's the quarterback room. It's we have, if Noah Iguanagani is your 5th cornerback and you have a deep defensive back, and we're pretty solid in that regard. Yeah, but it's just poor communication. They're really bad. And I think the gaps and the communication on defense was unexpected. And I think I really let us up a little bit.
if we're going to take just a second and give people their propers,
Yeah.
Trey Amos has been fantastic.
Oh, he's been
He was
amazing.
everything that, again, George and I run the before the draft and have a bunch of people, and people kept saying, I don't know how you got Trey Amos in the second round, right? I just don't get how that happened.
Yeah.
And he's been fantastic. And one of the great things about a cornerback is if you don't hear his name a bunch, that's probably a good thing. And with the problems they've had in the secondary, and you're right, George, we thought that was the deepest position.
Mm-hmm.
He's been the best of the group.
He's been great. You know who's good too, George? You know who's really good? I mean, Doug knows a real good corner. Will Johnson from Michigan. He's an awesome corner too.
Where's he at? Is he out in Phoenix now? Is that where he went?
Yeah, he kills, man. He rates so high. He grades so high. I mean, that's George. That's an inside thing between me and Doug. We kind of.
No, it's okay. I'm sitting here at the Maryland fan. I can't argue college football and stuff. My team was up 20-0 and lost in the fourth quarter yesterday. So I'm kind of
that was brutal. Maryland games don't affect me, but I felt bad for you guys, real bad. Yeah, that quarterback, you guys to be. Hey, 2 seconds, George. I know this is the Commanders podcast. They can't keep that head coach, can they? I mean, how long are they going to do this?
I think he's kind of married to Maryland because of Malik Washington. So that quarterback is from Friendly, Virginia, a high school in Virginia, and he recruited him. And I think Malik Washington is actually very, very talented. I don't know if you guys watched the game. He could go to another Big Ten or SEC venue and play there. So I think if Loxley leaves, Washington will leave. So I think, the alumni are going to want to keep Loxley for a couple of years to ensure that Washington stays. And I don't think it's Loxley's fault 100%. I don't know what happened there. Pep Hamilton's the offensive coordinator there, and we started to get some offensive. We started to put up some points, but our defense just let us down. It was tough.
No, Maryland's quarterback is. It's tough. Loxley's I like Loxley as a coach. I think he's awesome, actually. I think Loxley's a great recruiter.
He's an awesome recruiter. Yeah.
I mean, the talent he really taps into talent in the area, which not a lot of coaches have done. He really taps in.
And next year we have the number one edge player in the entire country. Not even number one in Maryland. We have the best edge player. I think he's number 1 or 2 overall prospect coming to Maryland next year, which is outrageous because he's actually a local guy in DMV.
Yep.
He's going to come stay in the area for us, which is fantastic. So, Chop Robinson is the guy too.
I wonder in the new era of college football, and we talked about Jim Nagy now being the GM of Oklahoma. I wonder if that's what they could do, right? Keep him around because you're right. He's a great recruiter. Yeah. By all accounts, a super good dude. But in big moments, he doesn't get them right from what I see. I mean, George, you know it a whole lot better than I do, but I try to keep up just because, I know a lot of Maryland fans. I don't know. They're in a tough spot there.
It broke my heart because I was doing some. I'm taking some online classes right now, so I was doing homework, watching the game. We're gonna win 20-0, and then I'm doing my homework, and slowly they're losing and chipping away. Come on, man! The guys it just blew my whole Saturday. It was awful.
Hey, just remember, even Mark Richt got fired by the Bulldogs, right? So I mean, sometimes you gotta make moves, baby.
I will say this. I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair for Maryland to be moved to the Big Ten. I think that's one of my issues with Maryland's. I don't think that it's hard. The Big Ten, just like if they went, some of these teams are going to the SEC, it's going to be hard for them to really get over. Even to get over Ohio State, the money that they put into that program, it's hard to come out of the Big Ten, knowing what you're going through with Ohio State, Michigan, the Penn States. These teams are. The money they shove in for football.
Well, there you go. It's a cash grab while there.
Yeah, it is. So I'm just saying it's gonna be hard for the Terps, and I always feel bad for the Terps. I feel like they're in a different situation than say playing the ACC. I think they would have been better off in the ACC. We wouldn't be having these discussions if they were in the ACC.
They should get on the horn right now and call the coach from Vanderbilt and say, "How much do you want?" Yeah. That's what I do.
I grew up with the ACC Maryland. I grew up with them playing Duke and playing North Carolina. Yeah. That was my core memories. So my 2 older brothers went to Maryland. I went to Maryland while they were still in the ACC. Awesome. Yeah. It was fantastic. I went to all the Duke games, all the North Carolina games. It's fantastic. Grievous Vasquez was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
The Big Ten in football, they're always going to be middle of the pack because if you look at it, right, Maryland will have a 25th best recruiting class or 20th best recruiting class in all of college football, right? But they'll be 9th in the Big Ten because there's Wisconsin, there's Nebraska, there's Michigan, there's Penn State, all the other teams are all going to be ahead of them. The one nice thing, though, that I do like is I think that Maryland is a contender in basketball. I mean,
Yes.
and that's for me, it's like
that's what works.
That's why they
favorite,
moved, right? That was a basketball move to get into the Big Ten, right?
it was a money grab because the Big Ten was offering so much money for them to join the Big Ten. And you can see it. Like I'm an alumni. I go back there, completely different. Like the football stadium is immaculate now. There's a new there's an all-world basketball center for the basketball team now, and like it's definitely growing. It's a whole new program. But it's going to be hard for football. But it is what it is. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I think the ACC is kind of like is struggling, kind of dying a little bit. I think it's the Duke, it's North Carolina in basketball, it's Clemson, Florida State potentially in football.
It hadn't even been North Carolina in a while, right? I mean, they've been down. It feels like
they've been down a little bit. So for me, it's like Maryland was always a little brother in the ACC in regard to basketball. Like they would fight, they were kind of feisty, but it was always like North Carolina, like the actual state of like North Carolina, like NC State, Wake Forest, all of that, and then all the other colleges. So it's kind of nice to. I don't know. I don't mind being in the Big Ten. It's been fun.
No, it's definitely on the plus side of basketball. Like on basketball, like Maryland's probably one of the best programs in Big Ten. In the Big Ten. Like that's not even like, because Maryland's basketball program prior to going to the Big Ten was already at a high level, regardless of whatever you want to think. Even being in the ACC, because ACC was a juggernaut in as a basketball conference. So yeah, you're right. In basketball, Maryland's by far one of the better teams in the Big Ten, easily. So let me ask this final question before we wrap this up. A lot of folks have always said, like, last year we didn't beat a lot of good teams last season, and that was like the narrative, right? This season, we lost to the Packers, which was a good team. That was our first test. I don't care but even with the injuries, this Chargers team is still a dangerous team. I know they lost to the Giants, but they are a good team. You got Justin Herbert too. I was saying at the
first place in the West.
Yeah,
they had lost the game to the
Giants. There you go. Yeah, exactly. And Justin Herbert regardless of how people feel about him, this season he's played in like top 5 quarterback in the NFL. But regardless of what folks think, he's been that good this season. Other than that Giants game and what we saw and what this defense helped do on Sunday. And then you mentioned their wide receiver unit, like Johnson, who everybody thought was a bust, had coming out this season looking like he's a number 1 receiver. McConkley, we know what he can do. Keenan Allen can still play ball. Like he is still a top level wide receiver. They have a great, and then Amarion Hampton is one of the better young running backs in the game. Washington was able to control all of that. So what does this say about this team now? Like, can that narrative end? Like, this team can't beat good teams. Should that narrative end? Because they dominated the Chargers 27-10 Sunday.
I'm curious about this Bears game, right?
Okay.
Like I think you go out there and beat the Bears, maybe not on a Hail Mary this time, Monday night at home. That is a test to me. Oddly enough, George, the Bears have somehow become like a rival. Right? Like there's a lot of smack talking between these two organizations. I don't know how that happened, but like these games, at least to the fans, mean something, right? I mean, the fan base wants to kick the bejesus out of the Bears here, and quietly that Bears team's not terrible. So I think it is a really good test.
What's hilarious is my wife is actually from Chicago, and my whole in-laws are all from Chicago. They're all Bears fans. And it's funny because like my wife is like a full-blown Commanders fan, goes to every game, wears Commanders gear now. And she's like, wants to be cute. She's like, oh, I might wear a Bears jersey to the Monday Night Football game. I'm like, are you out of a damn mind? Like, you don't realize, I don't think she realizes how much of like a rivalry has developed over the past year. I'm like, dude, I was like, I might invite my mom to the game instead of bringing you. Like, I'm like bringing it up. Like I'm not going to take you to the game anymore. If you were a jersey, so kind of throwing it out there. But like, I was just joking.
Well, George is low. If you got caught on TV with your wife wearing a Bears jersey, nobody let you let it down.
It would polarize. It definitely would be a hot topic. But I agree with you, Doug. I think the Bears are feisty, man. People want to hate, and people. I love our fan base, but our fan base is like. It's like they're very Commander centric, right? Like I love it. They love our team, but they will never give respect to other teams. Like I love the Commanders. I love the NFL. I love football. That's why I do this, right? I think the Bears are pretty good. I think Caleb Williams is pretty good. I think he can be flustered. I think he can be flustered. I think he holds the ball too long. So we should definitely blitz the hell out of him like we did with Justin Herbert. Make him throw the ball because he holds on to the ball too long. Yeah. And I think we will do that. but I think they do have a feisty offense. Like Coastal Loveland still hasn't done anything yet. He's talented, right? Cole Kmet's pretty solid. Roma Dunze's starting to get hot this year. DJ Moore hasn't even done much. That's one of my terps there.
Yeah.
He's a good wide receiver there as well. They have some firepower on that offense. And Caleb Williams, if you give him time, he's shown he can throw 3 or 4 touchdowns. So we have to shut them down. And if we beat them on Monday night, we're going to be okay.
Tunsil on Monday night.
That's tip the scales at Tunsil on that one. I think Tunsil's going to shut him down.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with you. I feel like I think that whole narrative is done, but I do think that the Bears game is definitely a huge test. And to a point that you made, I feel like it's crazy. It's like with our fan base, and I don't know, I can't speak for Chicago's fan base because I don't try to tap into them. I don't really care about them, to be honest with you. But so it's like we got this Biggie Pac mentality with our fan base when it comes to like, all right, if you like Jayden, you gotta hate Caleb. Or I guess on the Chicago side, if you like Caleb, you gotta hate Jayden. I guess that's how it happens, because I feel like that's where the beef comes from, right? That's where it stems from. It's not anything else that could create this beef. It ain't Montez Sweat, because we didn't care about. We never had that type of thought process for Chicago.
Caleb started the beef. I agree.
Yeah,
the number one, it's number 1 versus number 2. The pick.
Yeah, and it's like to me, it's okay. Like it's great. I remember the draft. I'll be blatantly honest. Like when the draft process started, I like Derek. Like I was like, I like Caleb. Everybody, I like local kids. I like all the local kids. Like I root for the local ones. You know, Chase was here. I rooted for Chase. I root for Caleb. I'm rooting for Ken Law because he's local. I root for all the locals. I do. I just root for the locals. And so I like Caleb, but I knew Caleb was going 1. And I straight disclosure, I put it up right there, put it out here for everybody. Like I wanted Drake May. Like I'll let that be known. I wanted Drake May, but
There's nothing wrong with that, brother.
Yeah, and I'm cool with being wrong. Like I'm cool with being wrong. When Caleb,
you wouldn't have been wrong. Drake May's balling out.
He's balling out. I let people know that already. Who said Drake May was a bum? I let them know. Like now, like this is what Drake May's like that. Like I'll tell he's like that. But I'm cool with being wrong in the essence of like I'm happy with the decision we made. Like I think we made the right decision. Period. Right. But I tell all fans it's okay to like all the quarterbacks in that draft. Like you don't have to hate.
It's a great class. It's a
awesome
great class. I love it. I think Bo Nix is fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think JJ McCarthy is going to turn around eventually. I do think Caleb Williams, I think he has some athletic talent right there as well. Mm-hmm. That would be funny if they made him the captain. And just like you, Wole,
that would be fantastic.
With that one draft cycle, me and Doug dove in heavy that draft. We were doing like 3 or 4 different shows a week.
Yeah,
I really liked Drake May at first, and I thought he had upside talent, which he still does. But it was funny because we had this conversation. I liked Drake May. Once I dived into the film with Jayden Daniels, I was like, ooh. I was like, Jayden Daniels is definitely a better player right now. And the narrative back then was, Jayden's older, that's college experience, and that's why he's a better player. And it turned out to be true. But I think Jayden Daniels is a better player than Drake May. I think we made the right decision. But Drake May is getting better year after year, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like as football fans in Washington, we don't have to always. It doesn't have to be like you can feel like your guys. You can feel like your guys better, right? For instance, I grew up in the era where Ernest Byner was my quarterback. I mean, my running back. Ernest Byner, my running back. I loved Ernest Byner. I loved him a lot. Like he was mine. You know what I mean? Like 1,000 yards. He was awesome, productive. But Barry Sanders is better.
Best running back in the league. Best of all time. Best of all time.
You know what I mean? Like there's certain dudes like, no, they're better. They're just better. Like
you know what's funny? Like we talked about it, right? Like, we're in a big group chat. Like people hate Amon-Ra St. Brown. They hate CeeDee Lamb. And I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, dude, respect the game. They're fun players to watch, but they love Malik Neighbors. And I love Malik Neighbors, and I think maybe there's some leniency because of the whole LSU thing and Jayden Daniels. Maybe that's why. But I think, you got to respect the game, man. You guys got to respect the good players on teams, It's fun to watch. That's why we do this.
Yeah, that's all I'm at. So that's my message for like fans, that's into the Chicago, this Bears, Washington beef. Like I know it's become really big. I've seen it on social. Like some people like they DM me, they're like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "What? What am I missing?" And then I see it, I'm like, "Dang, you got podcast personalities in Chicago talking about Washington," and then I see the uproar in Commanders social media, like, oh, I can't believe he said this and blah, blah, blah. Or, Caleb, you see what Caleb did? He's trash. I'm like, damn, we really like, and then I'm like, some of y'all are locals, man. Like, you going dog on a local kid? Like, is this what we're doing? Like,
I don't know who put that in the chat, Wale, but if they make Noah Brown a captain next week, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, that was my man Paul. That's my man Paul.
Great. That would be the best petty
Actually,
ever.
yeah, I said that. I said that on our show, one of our post game shows, and I was like, yeah, I'm all about petty, and I was like, Noah Brown should be captain.
I'm gonna DM DJ Premonition or the DJ at the stadium, and I'm gonna tell him to play Hail Mary when the Commanders run out.
Oh, that would be dope. That would be dope.
Hail Mary, it'll be so funny. That would be awesome.
But like, I know, like I was saying also, like this would be the game that Noah Brown plays. So this would be the game he plays. Like he would have to play this game. I feel.
We'll see. I know we'll get out of here on this note or whenever you want to wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
I'm kind of over. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm kind of over Noah Brown. Like
I am.
More power to him. Like, that was a great memory that we had. But I'm getting sick of every single week. We're like, oh no, we're not going to be able to play with Noah Brown. Like what are we going to do? We're missing Noah Brown this week. We haven't had him in like 10, 12 games. We had him like half the season last year. Yeah. He hasn't played for the Commanders since December of 2024. And people like not even during training camp and during the preseason. People are like, oh, we're missing Noah Brown. I mean, I think he's more of like a construct now than what he actually was. You know what I'm saying? Like people are thinking of him as an idea. Yeah. Like I don't think he's really he's a try to give more playing time to Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey. Let's go that route.
I agree with you. Let me put it that way. I really agree with you. I'm one of those, like, I mean, the Hail Mary was great. It was a vibe. Mm-hmm. It was a vibe. It was a real vibe. But
he turned the season around.
Yeah, he did. And God bless him. That's where I'm at with him. God bless him. But it gets to a point where you just can't live off that forever. And I don't want to, and I'm not saying this as shade or anything. It's unfortunate. He's consistently injured. That's the most consistent thing that he brings to the NFL. He's consistently injured. He'll give you flashes, and it's everywhere. It's not just here. It's everywhere. So I'm kind of over keeping a roster spot for a dude, and it sucks, right? Because I'm a person that believes that sometimes injuries are just fluke. But when it starts to follow you everywhere you go, then now it's not a fluke anymore. It's something with your body. Your body doesn't. Your body can't hold up. So that's where I'm at with him. So what's going on outside? But but yeah, that's how I look at this situation for Noah Brown. I just think that I'm with you with Noah Brown. It's time for it to go. But my man Mike has a question for you. So I'm gonna read his question before we roll out. He said, "What's y'all take on Luke so far this season since Wole Diva receiver Terry got snapped?" That's correct.
Yeah, you missed the wide receiver conversation because we went in depth on that one. I don't know.
I'll
35-minute mark, maybe.
I know. Let me handle it for you. All right, let me handle this for you. One Mike, you're obsessed with Luke McCaffrey, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Luke is fine. He'll be fine. I even gave Luke kind words. And typically, I'm not that nice to Luke, so it is what it is. All right, before we wrap this show up, I want to make sure I want y'all to plug your show, plug your all your social content, everything.
Usually we do a recap show on Monday. Well, we might have to make this a more regular thing while you're in the shutdown because this was dope. We do Opposition Wednesday on Wednesdays. We talk to somebody from the other beat for the other team. The boys with Mark Bullock and Nick Ackridge with George on Wednesday evenings do the film breakdown. I don't think there's one this week, but usually every Wednesday at 4:00 they're rocking those things out. And listen, Mark Bullock, this is not because they come on with us. It's just a fact. Mark Bullock and Nick Ackridge, we're lucky to have them in the fan base. Super smart guys. Yeah. We're very fortunate that they come on with us. So shout out to those guys. And then on Friday, we usually get somebody from the local beat. So, that's where we're at. The Big Doug and Carmi Show.
Yeah, definitely give us a follow on YouTube. We're on there every single week. We're going to have a lot of content on there. Definitely give Doug a follow, Doug McCray NFL on Twitter, at GCarmi21 for me on Twitter as well.
Dope show. And those dudes are dope. I listen to your show. When I listen to your show, I hear those dudes, and they know their stuff. That's why I always tell folks, like I don't cut tape. Y'all can't look at me and think I'm a scout. You gotta go like the folks like that. I'm not.
One thing I will say about them, like I've really enjoyed working with them for like a couple of years now. Like with their film breakdowns, it's accurate in its own point. Like they'll go through it, and I'll be like, I'm actively learning, and I'm inquisitive. I'm asking questions. Then a couple of days later, Logan Paulson will break something down, or John Kime will share something they heard from like a pro scout, and it's like the exact same play that we were talking about during the film breakdown. And I was like, dude, I'm so lucky to be working with them. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I mean, also they're lucky working with you all. You guys got a great, dope show. So I mean, just saying,
appreciate that.
You all are good at what you do. Real talk.
Thanks for that, buddy. And man, it's been too long. I'm serious. While the shutdown's down, you want to start doing this on Mondays? This was dope.
Oh, it works for me. You know, I'm here with you. You already know. I'm definitely here with you. All right, y'all. Thanks for y'all for pulling up. I'm talking about folks in the chat. Before I let y'all in the chat go, I'm all about claiming. Hit the like button. Okay, I'm claiming and y'all doing it right now. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for hitting the like button. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button as well. I appreciate George and Doug. They're just real cool folks. I've always been a fan of their work, you know, being on this social thing, and especially on this content creator thing. And they're really good and very insightful, respectful. You one of the good like Commander fans. You two are one of the good Commander fans. That's what I like. I put y'all in like the non-ignorant section.
Appreciate
that.
Section. Non-ignorant. That's a good start. I'll take that.
Yeah, I got you, buddy. That's why we're here today. You know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Good vibes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about y'all. You know, you're thoughtful when you do your show. You're very thoughtful. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for pulling up. You've been listening to the Urban Sports Thing. I just deuces. We are out. Peace.